What if you could sit in the room with someone who's been in construction for 46 years and get all of their insights into what it takes to be successful in construction, not only for yourself, but also for the people that you lead and for the clients that you serve? Today on Construction Genius, it is my privilege and great pleasure to welcome Alton Tew to the podcast. And Alton is a recently retired vice president of housing at Samet Corporation. And being recently retired, he has time to reflect back on his career and to think about how he developed a career that not only resulted in buildings being built, but lives being impacted. And isn't that what we're doing here in construction? We're not just building buildings, but we are also impacting lives through that. Let's dive right into the conversation. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Alton, welcome to Construction Genius.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah. How did you first get into construction and what drew you to the industry for the long haul?
You know, I sort of grew up in the business, grandfather and actually great-grandfather, construction guys. I was exposed to the construction industry very early in my life, probably pushing a broom on a construction site at 10 years old with my dad or grandfather. And just naturally was drawn to it. Most of my family, aunts, uncles, all were in the construction business. And I guess from my early age, just sort of knew what I wanted to do.
Was there pressure from the outside, or was it just kind of an accepted thing as far as your family is concerned? Is that something you really wanted to do?
I think my mom and dad were pretty open-minded for me to do what I wanted to do. But I started out in construction doing surveying work, which is a civil form of construction. And I always came back into constructing buildings. It's a passion. It's always been a passion. And it's something I've thoroughly enjoyed for my 46 years of doing it.
Yeah, 46 years. So that's a long time. So looking back, it's funny though how quickly it goes, even though it is a long time, right?
Oh, my friend, I cannot tell you. I don't know where the last 25 years of it went to, but yeah, it definitely goes by quick.
Yeah, there's that old saying, the days and the weeks are long, but the years and the months are short.
Well, I always telling some people, I would refer to that Luke Combs song, starts out slow and finishes fast.
That's right, baby. It's finishing fast. So as you look back on those 46 years, what are the biggest changes you've seen in construction, and what are the fundamentals that stay the same?
I guess the biggest change in construction is the technology and how technology has advanced for sure the last 20 years in construction. I mean, for the most part, we typically pour concrete today the way we poured concrete 40 years ago, quite frankly. But technology and the tools that we have developed and been exposed to the last 25 years in the industry have been really a game changer in the industry. For me personally, being an older person in the industry, and for sure the younger folks coming into the industry, technology has been a big part of the growth of our industry, promotion of our industry, and the success of our industry, quite frankly.
What would you say are one or two technologies that you found to be the most helpful, beyond the hype and all that kind of stuff?
I tell you, I was exposed to this quite a bit in my last 10 years of my career. Being able to have a analytical data that supports what you're doing in the field, whether it be, an example of that would be when we're forecasting monthly revenues per job, and somebody tells me they're going to do $4 million of revenue. Well, I had the analytical data to back me up to say, okay, if you're going to do $4 million of revenue this month, then there should be 165, 170 people on this job every day of the week. So I go out to the job site and there's 40 people out there. I've got the data that has been compiled to say, wait a minute, you're not going to do it. The math does not work. And using that data for scheduling, those type of things has been a big help. And it's very easy to use, and it's been a big help and a big contributing to the success in the industry for sure.
Yeah, so that's interesting. The ease of use and then the impact, both of those things working together sort of make for a good technological advancement. What's an example that you're seeing where it's not easy to use and it really doesn't have the impact, but it is being hyped in a way that's not helpful?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really know how to answer that, quite frankly. I mean, most of the stuff that I've been exposed to for sure my last 25 years has been very helpful in the industry. I mean, obviously, we use a Procore system at Samet, used it for so many years, and it's a system that it is the largest construction managing system out there. It has been such a powerful, powerful tool to the success of projects, quite frankly, to the success of people, being able to use that tool. But I don't really know if I know how to answer the question you just asked me, quite frankly.
Sure. No, it's cool. If you were sitting down with a CEO of Procore and he said, Alton, what's one change we should make in our software program to make it more useful to you? What would that one change be? Sometimes
in Procore, we have to go deep into the woods to find what we're searching for. We were fortunate at Samet because we've been a part of Procore for a while, that we actually met with Procore numerous times throughout the year with our superintendents or some people that were using the system. And they would always bring ideas like, hey, look, I'm trying to find X in the program and I have to go all the way into Z to find my answer. What can we do to better that? How can we take some of the analytical data that I just mentioned a few minutes ago? How can this analytical data that I get from Procore marry up to the financial and to the scheduling software that we use to make our project successful, and to know on a day-to-day basis as opposed to a month-to-month basis where these projects are at, and to manage the projects.
Obviously, you've been in the business for a long time, and this idea of technology being introduced, often folks who are in our generation, we get accused of being kind of old school and not wanting to adopt technology. What is the mindset you've adopted to keep sort of on the leading edge there and make sure that you're not getting sort of stuck in the fuddy-duddiness? You know what I mean?
I always find the youngest intern I've got, because they're usually the smartest ones when it comes to this technology. It's amazing to me, the interns that we hire to go through our summer programs and the ones we hire at college, their knowledge of systems and data and all the things that make a construction project successful is well beyond what mine ever thought about being coming out of college. So I say that lightly, but numerous times when I've had problems with technology or Procore, I've gone and found one of the younger folks in our company, and they've taught me as much. I've taught them to pour concrete, and they've taught me how to navigate through some of the Procore systems. So it's been a really good marriage for me. And I've been, like I said, I'm an older guy too. And computers were not on the ground when we were pouring concrete in the early 80s. But it's amazing the knowledge that the younger folks are coming out of college with. And I think some of my grandkids could probably navigate through Procore, quite frankly.
That's beautiful. That's sort of the young intern framework. You can use them to help you. Going back to the fundamentals, as you're thinking through the timeless things that never change in construction, what would be 2 or 3 of those that you would really encourage people to be focusing on as they're developing their careers?
The things that don't change in construction, I'll mention concrete again. I don't care what technology you use. You've got a certain drying time, and you better be on the top of it to get it dried, to get it level. So that's one of the things. Managing people is something that, quite frankly, I've been successful in my career throughout, is being able to manage people, understand the importance of making people successful as much as you're making yourself successful. I've been in this 46 years, and I've always had that approach. I want the people around me to be as successful as I've been. That's one of the things that we've done, that I've done the same way for my entire career. So, managing people, making sure people are successful, electrical work, HVAC work, it's still the basics it was 60 years ago. 240 volts today is still was 240 volts 40 years ago. HVAC systems with typically work the way they have for years. The fundamentals of what we did back in the 80s, as far as the putting things in place and the way systems perform, have not really changed much. The technology that helps support that system has changed.
So as you're thinking through that, making other people successful, what do you focus in on with them in terms of the behaviors or the attitudes that they need to be showing up with every day in order to be successful in construction?
My opinion is, to make somebody successful, you need to understand what success looks like to them. We're doing projects at Samet, and I've done some pretty good size projects at Samet, multi-million-dollar, high-rise buildings. And I've always gone to my owners from the day the contract was signed and had a intel discussion or deep discussion about what success looks like to them. Is it the schedule? Is it the financials? Is it the quality of the building? To where my teams understand what success looks like to our owners. I think it's important to understand what success looks like to a 22-year-old college graduate who just came to work for Samet. I've always sort of used this phrase, the younger folks in this business want to know what working hard means to them in 5 years? If I'm going to give you my heart and soul to be successful and you make me successful, what does that mean to me? If I do all these things in 5 years, where am I at? I grew up in the business to where you met with your employees once a year, la-di-dee, la-di-da, here's your raise, here's a little bit of bonus check, we'll see you next year. Out the door.
Right.
Out the door completely. You have to engage the newer folks. At Samet, we do it every 9 days. It's a sit down. It may be a beer. It may be a sandwich at lunchtime. Understanding how the last 9 days is going with them, what the next 9 days is going to look like for them. And they want to be engaged. And that's something that I think I've been pretty successful at, was understanding what success looks like to my people, where they want to be at in 5 years, and just keeping a hold of that and keeping that engagement to where their careers can grow. Everybody wants their career to grow. I mean, even me, when I was in my mid 50s, I wanted to know what working 60 hours a week meant to me. I mean, I didn't want to come talk to me every 9 days and let's talk about how the world's going.
Yeah, no, that's great. That 90-day check-in, that's key. And it's interesting how you frame success, both in terms of what your customers are looking for and what your employees are looking for. And if your employees understand what the customers are looking for, then they can focus their efforts on making sure the customers get their success met as well.
It's amazing. At Samet, we will work for especially in the multifamily industry, we will work for whole builders. And a whole builder is a person who builds an apartment complex and is going to keep it. It's an investment. They're going to keep it maybe 20 years down the road. We do a lot of work for merchant builders. Get the thing built so I can rent the thing up, get it 85% occupied and sell it. The success of what that whole builder wants and the success of what that merchant builder wants is left and right.
That's so interesting. Yeah. So you can't just assume what that success is. Now, how long have you been at Samet?
25 years.
Okay. So whenever I meet someone who's been with a company more than 5-10 years, I'm always thinking, man, that's a pretty deep thing. So what is it that's kept you at Samet that long?
The engagement that I just mentioned and the opportunity. Samet was, how I got into multifamily. I worked for a larger construction company the first 20 years or so of my career, and was looking for some change. That's amazing. I've been in the business 46 years. I've only worked for 2 companies.
Wow.
Wanted a little bit of a change, wanted some more opportunity. Had been in the executive part of the company I worked for forever. So really, when I came to work for Samet, I met a bunch of people over at Samet and knew Norman Samet, who owned the company. And when I came to work here, he said, "So, Alton, what do you want to do?" I said, "You know what? Just give me a white truck with an S on the side of it, and I want to go build some buildings." And he's like, "Okay." I didn't want to project manage it. I just wanted to go out and be out in the field and build some buildings. And Samet had just gotten their first multifamily gig. So we built a multifamily deal over in High Point, North Carolina, which was pretty successful. And that turned into a multifamily deal that we did in Burlington, North Carolina, which was very successful. And this was over about a 2.5, 3 year period. And Norman came to me and said, "Do you think we could be successful in multifamily?" I'm like, "Well, we've done pretty well in these last 2 projects." He said, "Okay, we're going to start a multifamily division." I'm like, "Okay." And he looked at me and said, "And you're going to run it?" I'm like, "Okay." So I was back to the executive role that I'd steered away from, but the opportunity was given to me. It was my business. I mean, I was in charge of the P&L, the marketing, every aspect of it, from concrete to refrigerators. It was all mine. And the opportunity that the Samet and the Samet family, Arthur, Norman, Rick Davenport, gave me to more or less control my destiny was unreal. We went from 13 projects to last 2 or 3 years, we were doing 34 multifamily deals a year in the $500 million range, turning over 3,500 units a year, which it got a little hectic at times, but it was always a challenge to me. And I always had the opportunity to control my own destiny. The engagement was always there. I mean, as far as my teams, I had 170 people in this multifamily group at one time, and just that opportunity to do what I thought I was good at.
It's interesting. So when you came to Samet, you came from an executive role more into an operational, sort of day-to-day operational role, right?
Yep.
So in some people's minds, they would consider that a step down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And what was it that caused you to want to do that?
In my executive role at my prior company, I got into, it's not really the politics of construction. It was the business end of construction. Quite frankly, chasing money. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I picked up the phone and had to call owners and developers. We hadn't gotten paid. I didn't go to I'm not good at that. I'm
Yeah.
good at pouring concrete. I'm not good at calling people and asking them where our money is or where my check's at or when am I going to get paid and that kind of stuff. I'm good at pouring concrete and building buildings. And I was getting really tied down, spending 30 hours a week doing that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I needed to break. I needed to just breathe a little bit, go back to what I was comfortable doing, to what I really, really enjoyed doing. And then I think the 3 years that I was more or less building buildings with Samet, playing the superintendent's role, gave me time to unwind from that executive position I had at my prior company, gave me time to unwind, to sort of reset my career. So when the opportunity was given to me to advance, to become an executive again, it felt a little different. It felt better. I felt more comfortable doing it, especially since I had the opportunity to do the whole basket, and from, like I said, from selling it to marketing it to performing it. So yeah, it's been a really good gig for me for sure.
It's interesting. So when you stepped into that divisional role with Samet, what did you do differently in comparison with when you were in the executive role in your previous company? What learnings did you take with you, and how did you perform it in a different way in that new executive role?
I knew in my executive role, I was going to treat people different in this new executive role. I had to learn probably the hard way that I'm not going to be successful unless people around me are successful. And I'll be the first to admit, I think in my prior career, before Samet, I probably had an ego that was not healthy. I think I learned to manage that ego a lot better. I learned the importance of people, the importance of, and I'm sorry I'm using this phrase so much, but it's something I'm passionate about. I learned the importance of people being successful.
Yes.
And it's something that I've really it's a passion of mine. And I think it worked for me. Making owners, I didn't even mention our trade partners. I wanted all my trade partners that work for me. I don't call them subcontractors because to me, they've always been my trade partners. Making my trade partners, understanding what success is like to them too. I mean, if you not encapsulate that, if you gather all that information and make people, and everybody understands what success looks like, you've got a well-rounded team with a great future, quite frankly.
All right, quick break to talk about my book, Construction Genius. This is what I want you to do. Go to Amazon, search for the book, read all of the 5-star reviews, because there's a ton of them. Over 50 to be precise. And the reason I want you to read them is because real people wrote those reviews who've actually read the book. And it'll give you an idea of why you should go and buy a copy right now on Amazon. And here's the deal. If you purchase 10 or more copies for your company, and then send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, I'll come in via Zoom and do a 1-hour Q&A and a bonus training session with your team at no charge. I normally charge $4,500 for an hour of my time. And again, for you, I'll do it at no charge if you buy 10 or more copies of my book. And the reason you should buy it is all in the title. It's effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS, leadership, strategy, sales, and marketing advice for construction companies. So if you're in the construction industry, this book is for you. So you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Audible in the audio version as well, narrated by yours truly. And I know you'll really enjoy it. So go out and get the book. And now back to the interview.
How do you handle a situation where, okay, so you've defined success for the company, for your employees, for the client, even your trade partners. Sometimes in construction, there seems to be conflict around different definitions of success. And that's where the leadership really needs to step in and negotiate the conflict between those parties. How do you handle that situation?
It's amazing. My retirement plan at Samet was announced about a year ago. So people knew that I was going to retire in January this coming year. So it got to be August and it got to be September, and my project managers would call me and my superintendents would call me and go into a deep question. And I would just sit there and listen. And this is comical. They say, "Are you listening?" I'm like, "Okay, this is my answer to your question. What are you going to do January 4th when I'm not here anymore?" And they were like, "Why are you asking me?" I said, "You're going to have to figure this out for yourself." And I've always been a good listener. There is always, I don't care what industry you're in, and this is, everybody says this, it's always two sides of each story. But being able to get a group of people that are in conflict in the same room and being a mentor of that or the negotiator of that is something I've had a really good success rate in doing. I've had some nasty situations between trade partners and Samet and between trade partners and trade partners that I've had to get involved in, and bringing a calmness to that they understand you're listening and understanding everybody's side of it before you jump in there and start making rash decisions has really helped me in my career. Because this is a construction as a whole has still got a lot of ego type people in it, and it's still a good old boy network, for the lack of a better term, especially in the markets we've worked. And I think just being able to listen, take the time to understand both sides of it. And I was fortunate enough, because I've been in the business for so long, when an HVAC guy was having a problem with the electrical guy, I know both sides of the story. I know what each one of them are trying to say. And I tell you, with a little calmness to the table, it can be worked out. We don't have enough time for me to go through some of the stuff that I've had to deal with over the years with owners and trade partners. But just Arthur Samet made a great comment to me when I retired. He says, the calmness that you brought to the situation to this company over the years has been well received. The way
Let's
you can
explore that a minute, from that idea of calmness, because I know in construction that there's a lot of ego, there's a lot of pressure, and that can result in people kind of losing control. As you think back to specific times where others were losing it, but you were staying calm, what did you focus on in order to maintain that sense of calm in the midst of the storm?
I think I just remain quiet, quite frankly. I mean, a lot of times people just want to get it out of their systems. There are times that, and I'm one of those people, if we're going to have, and people understand this about me, we're not going to have disruptive conversation in a room with 10 people. I'm more than willing to have a disruptive conversation in my office with 2 people. We're not going to take this nastiness in a conference room where there's 10, 20, 30 people in there and go down this road. We're going to take a deep breath. Ask everybody, we're going to go into a room that's manageable, where we can manage the situation. You can't manage conflict, egos with 30 people in the room. You can manage those with 1 or 2 people in the room and have a discussion about them. But if you try to manage that with a crowd of people, you're getting ready to get into you're going to have 30 people with egos screaming at you. So taking a deep breath, listening. A lot of times people just want to be heard. Let them finish. Say, okay, understand. Let's go into my office and discuss this. Not out here.
Excellent. That's very, very insightful. I appreciate that. As you were preparing for your retirement, what did you focus on to make sure that you were passing the baton to the next set of leaders in a way that set them up for success?
Great question. Really great question. And this is it really hits home for me, because in 2024, when I did my review with my boss, which is really just, we go to breakfast and talk, he said, okay, you got a year left. What's important this last year? I said, this last year for me is probably had 10 or 15 young, talented, going to set the industry on fire type people under me. And I told Rick, I said, I want to spend the next year making sure that this company understands the capability of these people, that the path is poured for these people to be successful in their careers here at Samet. So I spent a lot of time my last year with my project managers and people that I knew were going to set this industry on fire and be a huge part of the growth of Samet in general, understanding where they want it to be once again, understanding, back to the same question, understanding what success is going to look like for them. So I spent a lot of time my last year being the go-between my project managers and an executive team, saying, okay, this guy right here, this is his path. This guy's going to be a field executive pretty quick. This guy's a VP. We want to open, if we're seriously thinking about opening an office in Nashville, Tennessee, I got this list of people here that be interested in doing that. If we want to talk about opening an office in Jacksonville, Florida, I've got this list of people that would love to have a conversation about that. So I just spent the last year just making sure that my teams and the people that I had really actually hired them out of college, we understood as a corporation. I understood what they want it to be, but I wanted to make sure that people that were taking my place. We actually hired my replacement in April of last year, And when Jason came on board, he was VP of Ops for our Charlotte office. I spent a lot of time with Jason, explaining to him the capabilities of that staff down there in that market and what that staff wanted to do, where they wanted to be at in their career in 5 or 6 years, and what type of engagement they need to be successful. Actually, the same thing with a lot of my owners, because a lot of the owners that we use at Samet are repeat customers. So I wanted to make sure that Jason understood what success looked like to the owners that we work for all the time. So I spent a lot of time, I guess, the knowledge that I had gathered over customers and people over the last years or so, and just transferring that to the new leadership, being Jason, our new VP down there in Charlotte.
And so you were involved in the selection process of the next person?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's great. Let me ask you, did you retire at the right time?
I did. I retired at the perfect time.
How did you know it was the perfect time?
We had gone through a little bit of a slow period with multifamily in general in the Charlotte markets. We had built so many apartments, and other GCs had built so many apartments. So the 34 projects that we had throughout the Southeast had dwindled down to where things were slowing up. We got Samet did not have a portfolio as a high-rise multifamily construction company. We got the opportunity to do a 28-story tower in Ballantyne down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Really, really gorgeous building. Owner came to me because he knew me and said, "Could you guys handle this?" And obviously I'm like, "Sure, no problem whatsoever." Although Samet's portfolio is not going to show a bunch of high-rise towers, the people that work for me have got that experience. So we signed up, $160 million, 357-unit deal. Beautiful building. So I told, we were slowing up in the wood frame market. So I said, "This is what I want to do. I want to take a team of people that I'm going to handpick to go out here and build this tower and show everyone. I'm going to write a playbook on how to build a 28-story tower." And we did. It went so good. We finished every turn on time. We actually finished it 45 days ahead of schedule. We made all of our fee that we were supposed to make. It went picture perfect. We actually had signs made. You walked into trailers out there, and I had a bunch of banners made that says, "Welcome to Samet's Best in Class project." You're entering a best in class project, from pouring concrete to refrigerators it was such a fun job. And I spent a lot of time out there with everybody. I mean, we were having probably the best topping out party I've ever had in my career when we got to the top floor. We were able to spend a lot of time in developing talent and showing our CFO, Doug, came to me at the end of the job. He's like, multifamily can be stressful. It can be, you can lose your butt in a heartbeat on some multifamily jobs if you don't finish them on time. And to be transparent, we'd had some rough jobs. We'd had some holes we dug into. So it was important to me to prove to my bosses and to the Samet family that you can be successful in multifamily if it's planned right. And it was. And it's our CFO, Doug, told me at the end, he said, "God, you hit it out of the park." I said, "Well, I told you the first project I did at Samet was a very successful multifamily project. And as long as the last one's going to be as successful as the first one, I'm going to leave." And the CFO, Doug, said, "Well, what about if it falls apart?" I said, "Well, I guess I'm staying if it falls apart," but it didn't.
Yeah, right. So it's interesting because as you were doing that last project, it sounds like you were consciously building a playbook that you could then leave for other people to take and run with.
It is. Now that I'm talking about it and I thought about this, I actually sort of went back out the same door I came in. We just opened a new office building in Charlotte, and they said, "Well, where do you want? This is your office down." I'm like, "Look, I don't mind office here inside this new office building, but I'm going to have an office at the job site too. I want to be able to spend time out there with those people out there." And I spent most of my career, I'd pop in every once in a while, but I spent most of the last year of my career out there with those people, just having a great, great time. 200 plus people on job site every day. We just had so much fun building this building. And I think that the people that were part of that team will one day run this entire company, quite frankly.
Think about the last time you promoted someone into a leadership role and it failed. Why did it fail? I can tell you one reason. People know how to build projects, but they don't know how to build and lead teams of people. Construction comes with its challenges that only insiders truly understand. Generic leadership training doesn't cut it. You need a program to train your leaders built specifically for construction professionals led by an industry expert. And my online course, The Shift, is exactly that course. It has 5 modules. It'll teach your people how to control their calendars and reduce stress and embrace chaos and accomplish their critical tasks. It will teach them the 3 essential messages they have to communicate every day in order to motivate and lead their team effectively. It'll show them how to build and lead a high-performing team, give them a framework for running effective meetings so they'll be able to solve problems in less than an hour, and also give them a higher perspective on their leadership that will enable them to work on the business and on their teams and not get stuck in the weeds micromanaging. So go out to my website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, read all about the course, and then enroll yourself and your leaders in the course, and I guarantee that it will transform your leadership. If it does not, you take the whole course and you didn't get benefit from it, you just send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, and I will cheerfully refund you 100% of your money. I'm really confident this course will transform your leadership. So again, go out to the website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, learn more about the course, and start taking it today.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. As you look back on your career, I know mentorship has really been something that's mattered to you. Who influenced you early on in your career?
I guess I was one of the fortunate ones because my dad and my grandfathers were part of the construction industry. When I came into it as Lee Tew's son or Hugh Smith's son. I went to college, and when I graduated from college, I went to work for the company my dad worked for, and that's who I worked for the first 20 years of my career. I wasn't given the silver spoon. Feel very confident in saying that I was put in a ditch. I had a college degree, but I was put in a ditch with a water pump, and I pumped mud out of elevator pits. Okay. So I was exposed to all aspects of the construction, and I was able to pave my own way. But because of my dad's career and my grandfather's career, there were certain people that knew them that sort of got on my piggyback. And when I had problems, when I had issues, and when I had questions about things, they were always a phone call away to help me through it. And even having those people in your back pocket meant a lot to me personally. Quite frankly, most of those folks have gone on to better grounds or gone on to the better side lately. But God, the influence they had on my career, just to be able to come home at nighttime, have a bad day, pick up the phone and call somebody that it knows the answer to it and have a conversation about it is just so soothing to me. And I've tried to make my career that way. I've gotten phone calls 8:30, 9 o'clock at night from my superintendents, from my project managers all the time, just wanting to hash out. They had a bad day and they want somebody to listen. Call me. They need 24/7. My job has always been 24/7. You want to call and talk about the concrete pour that didn't go the way it was supposed to go, or the punch list inspection that didn't go the way it was supposed to go, call me. We'll talk through it. Just being that ear to listen.
It's interesting as you talk about how you started your career, you had a college degree, but you started in a ditch.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so because one of the challenges people have coming into the industry, particularly if they know people, is that they take advantage of those relationships, but they don't have that sort of ground level experience. And that combination of having the experience plus the relationship sounds like it really stood you in good stead as your career developed.
You have to, in this industry, you have to lead by example.
Right.
When I ask people to pump water out of elevator pits, they can look at me and say, "Oh, hell, he's done it, so I know I can do it." You have to lead by example. And I mean, the last 2 or 3 months of that high-rise tower we were finishing up, give me a broom. Let's go. Let's get this place cleaned up, ready to go. I was in there on my knees looking at I was doing the punch list stuff. But so I think leading by example has been a huge, huge part of my success. I've never, and I'm going to say this with 100% confidence, I don't think I've never asked anybody to do anything in this business I haven't done myself.
Right on. From your perspective, what does the future of construction look like, particularly in housing and mixed-use development?
Wow. If there's one thing, the first question you asked me about how the industry's changed, I mentioned technology, but the second half of that is labor.
Yeah.
Labor in this industry it's just managing it has become very tiresome, quite frankly. That's why on a $160 million multifamily deal, I had 15 managers on that job trying to manage this labor force, because in multifamily specifically, and it's transitioning to the other markets that we work in, industrial, healthcare, and those type markets. But multifamily is a production driven business. I mean, our framing, we'll hire a framing contractor to frame our multifamily deals, and he will be 7 or 8 tiers below him with the labor market. There'll be a framing crew. There'll be a layout crew. There'll be a window setting crew. There'll be a roofing crew. There'll be a sheeting crew. There'll be a truss crew. And all of these are 5 and 6 people companies that are all 1099s working by the square foot or by the piece. They're there at 6 o'clock in the morning. And they're there at 6 o'clock at night. They're production driven. But that has, the last few years, that has just, it's quadruple. I mean, the last 10 years, I'm paying $17 to set a toilet. I'm paying $45 to set a sink. I'm paying $9 to hang a piece of sheetrock. I'm paying $9 to finish a piece of sheetrock. And it's all these different people that are just 1099 or into the market that it's become very hard to manage and understanding that. I mean, you go out to a framing contractor and go to the guy setting the windows and ask him who he works for. It'll take you 5 or 6 times to get back to the person that you actually signed the contract with.
Yeah.
Managing that, making sure that that's done in the way that it's supposed to be done legally from an insurance perspective. I mean, you have a guy that's a 7th or 8th tier sub get killed on a construction site and trying to work your way back up to the guy that signed the contract. That is one thing. The labor, and I don't see any way out of it. We started out years ago. It was a framing and the sheetrock, and now all of it's done. I mean, the electricians paid $50 every time they hang a ceiling fan. It's so different from what it used to be.
How does Samet manage that?
With 15 people on a $160 million job, it takes a lot of managing to make sure that it's going the right way. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but you got to make sure you don't go behind the building and some guy's got a bag of cash paying $20 bills in cash every Friday to your framing contractor. I've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
That's not the business you want to be in. And managing that and holding the people that sign those contracts accountable for that. I mean, for example, if we sign a contract with an electrical contractor, there's going to be somebody who works with that electrical contractor on that job 24/7. I'm not going to ask my guys to try and manage 7th, 8th, 9th tier subcontractors. I understand you're going to use tiered contractors to do your work, but the management of that is going to be your person that's on this job from sun up to sundown every day. My guys were, and if I ever, that was one thing that would set me off over the years. If I'd go out there and I would have an issue with somebody, all of a sudden I'm talking to a 3rd tier and I'm like, well, time out. I'm not having this discussion anymore. I don't have a contract with you. I have a contract with somebody else, and that's what I'm getting ready to call. But managing that is one thing that the younger folks have struggled with, I think. They don't understand why can't I just tell somebody to do, why can't I just pick up the phone and tell them to do it? Right. It's just because they're production driven. Or you go in there and will paint over some drywall that's just got the skim coat on there. Well, why did the painter paint over the drywall when he knew they weren't finished and sanded it? Because the painter's getting paid to paint that wall. He didn't give a shit what condition it looks like. He's getting paid to paint the wall. He wants a check.
Yep. No, I get that. Your family's experience with leukemia led you to get involved with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Yeah.
How did that experience shape you personally or professionally?
Wow. Camden, my grandson, is 12. Camden was born with Down syndrome. We knew he was going to have Down syndrome when he was born. But about 6 months after Camden was born, he got leukemia and was 250 some days in a 12 by 12 room inside a children's hospital in luckily Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was able to see him quite often. But the doctors, and he's 12 years old now and he's cancer free and he's a healthy young man at 12. But living through that experience with my son and my daughter-in-law and my family just put a passion in me to do something to try to help people who are not as fortunate as us. So I got involved in actually Blood Cancer United now. We changed the name last year, probably 4 or 5 years ago. It started being on their executive board and a few other things, just raising money to cure these diseases and to cure any kind of blood diseases. There's 173, I think, blood diseases right now that are leukemia-based diseases. And just being a part of that and being a part of not so much finding a cure for that, although that is a big aspect of it, but being able to support families that, quite frankly, some of them don't have the financial means to go through these diseases, and being able to help them in some way with my history get through these trying times. And sometimes these things don't work out as good as they did with my grandson. But being there, it's really been a passion for me and my family. Samet has jumped on board, and I think Samet has raised $750,000 in the last 4 or 5 years towards blood cancer research.
Wow.
It's cancer can be a very personal experience that a lot of people don't like to share.
Yes.
And I can understand that, and I can be supportive of that. But cancer can also be people that, like me, that want to be a part of it, are there to help people with these experiences, help them navigate through these experiences, whether it be working with cures or working with hospitals to get people in. It's just it's a passion, and it's something that I will continue in my retirement. I look forward to it every year. We have a lot of events throughout the year to just raise money, and not just seeing my grandson, who's 12 now and healthy, 12-year-old, been cancer-free for 10 years now.
Wow.
There's quite a few people that I've been exposed to that I can tell that same story about. So just being a support network for that cause has been pretty passionate of us.
And is that something you're doing in your retirement as well, kind of focused on now?
Yeah, I'm actually on the North Carolina, Virginia Board of Trustees for Blood Cancer United.
If someone wants to learn more about the stuff that you're involved in, where can they go on the internet to kind of get more information or even maybe participate?
You can just Google Blood Cancer United, and you go to our website. It'll have our events or the coming year, or quite frankly, I'll give you my telephone number. Tell them to call me.
Yeah, right on. Right on. So Blood Cancer United, we're going to have a link in the show notes to that. So if you or anyone you know is interested in getting into that and learning more, you can go to the website there. And Alton, as you reflect on your career and as you're getting into retirement, what are you most proud of when you look at your career?
The success I'm going back to this again, the success of the people that I've been able to be exposed to. I mean, I am such a blessed, fortunate person. I mean, one example of that is 12 years ago, my sister called me. I said, "Hey, I got this young man just graduated from Auburn University. His dad works with me and want to know if you interview him." I'm like, "Sure." So this is my playbook of how successful people can be. So I said, "Sure." So he came in, Hunter, his name is Hunter. Hunter came into my office, necktie, dressed like he's getting ready to interview for a banking position.
Yeah, right.
And we talked, and he made a very profound statement to me during that interview. He said, "Alton, I can do so much with a computer, and I know all the programs that I think we use in construction. I want to go to work for a company that will teach me to build a building." And I said, "Time out." We were still in Greensboro. We hadn't even opened any of our satellite offices yet. I said, "Time out." I went straight to HR. Jenny Calicut was running HR. I said, "I need an offer letter." She's like, "Just tell me the particulars, send them to me, and I'll get it to you." I'm like, "Nope, I'm not leaving your office. I'm going to sit here while you type it." I went over and I handed Hunter that letter. He looked at it and was just glowing, signed it. And 13 years later, he is our regional vice president in Savannah, Georgia. He runs a $200 million business in Savannah, Georgia for us.
So what did you notice in that interview? I hear this idea of, I want to learn how to build a building, but what else did you notice about him that made you want to give him an offer right away and not let him get out the door?
I knew that young man was going to do whatever it took to make himself and this company successful. I have been very fortunate to be able to have conversations with people throughout the year and throughout the years I've been working in this business. And I know from those conversations, they're going to do whatever it takes to make themselves and this company successful. And I can sit here and list names left and right, people that's happened. Hunter's just one of my stories, but there's numerous stories of people like that who are going to do whatever it takes, and it works for them.
That's beautiful.
I think Hunter's he got out of college, came to work for us. I don't know that he'll ever leave our company. He's that passionate about it. And we've taken him. He understands what it took to get to regional vice president. He's getting ready. He's working on his senior VP now. So those are cool stories.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. It's great to have those stories to reflect on and understand that our impact, I think sometimes our impact is greater than we even think it is, and we have those stories, but I'm sure there's many, many others of how you've impacted people over your 46 years plus in the business.
Well, it's not just their career. It's the Hunters of the world. He comes to work here. He's got a girlfriend. Seeing him go from girlfriend to marriage to 3 kids.
Yep.
That's just as much successful because I'm around his kids, but seeing them be successful in the industry they have chosen, but seeing them be successful as people, seeing them be successful as parents, you can't put a price on that kind of stuff. That is priceless. And to get Christmas cards from all these guys and gals every year, and to know that you've had some type of impact on the industry they've chosen and on their career is just, it's priceless to me. And it makes me feel proud of myself.
That's great.
In a quirky way, I guess.
No, it's great. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, Alton. This has been a great discussion. If people want to get in touch with you, is there any way they can get in touch with you?
Sure. Cell number is 33.
Thank you for listening to my interview with Alton. Feel free to go to Blood Cancer United if you'd like to learn more about what that group does to help folks with blood cancers. And again, Alton very boldly gave you his personal email and his cell phone. So feel free to contact him. And he's got a wealth of wisdom that could be of tremendous benefit to you. Thanks for listening to Construction Genius today. Feel free to share this interview with other people who you think would benefit from listening to it. And do me a favor real quick. I just had someone reach out to me and enroll in my Shift leadership course. I'd never met him before or heard about him. I asked, hey, how did you know about me? And he said, I'm an avid listener to Construction Genius. So if you're an avid listener to Construction Genius, do me a favor today. Shoot me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com. In the subject line, put avid listener and tell me why you listen to Construction Genius. We have over 370 episodes, and I would love to know what it is about the podcast that keeps you coming back. Thanks for listening to today, and I will catch you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity, and to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.